This video's made for adult collectors because I'm a little late looking at this thing.
You know what's really exciting is today, at least the day I'm shooting this, my next Grail comes in, and I'm very excited. I finally found a super. Get out of here! I finally found a Super Megatron, and it's supposed to be here. It was supposed to be here yesterday, but it got delayed, so it'll be here today, and I'm very excited. Brawl's here though.
I totally forgot till like last week that this was sitting in my figure/model kit backlog. Bro was just hanging out in the box there, so I decided to open him up one day. I have one already, but young idiot me cut the cannon off because I thought it looked stupid. I still think it looks stupid, but I ain't gonna start slicing entire chunks of my toys off anymore. So with it all here and not having touched this mold since it released in 2018, god damn, this thing is 7 years old, Brawl looks neat, if a bit skinny. Yeah, he's a tad on the lanky side with the spindly flat shoulders and weird fat forearms. Not to mention how thin the torso gets. It's because he has to flatten into tank mode, and the way the arms form the turret, they need to be this slim, but it makes the robot not feel as brutish as I would like it to be. Though the MPM more than makes up for that because it's bigger, it has more room to work with.
Speaking of the MPM real quick, yeah, making these out of diecast and painting it was a horrible idea. I haven't transformed this thing in a very long time, and I just picked it up for the first time in a while, and that got worse. So, yeah, I still love this thing, but don't do this, Hasbro, please. Don't do this again.
I do appreciate all the silver throughout this robot mode. It's used sparingly, as most silver paint apps are on Transformers, but it's used just enough here to look very coherent. I especially love how the exposed arm bits and the hands are painted silver, and the knees. On the back of the box, his like shin bits or whatever are painted in gold, while the regular figure has gunmetal, which I believe is accurate to the film, but I kind of prefer the gold, I'm not gonna lie. Also, the prototype colors on the back of the box look way nicer to me, especially in tank mode. His shoulders are positioned a bit lower and set back than I would like, kind of adding to the whole skinny arm look. I do like how this Brawl gets the shoulder position of the treads right, with them facing up rather than flat like how the first movie Leader and Deluxe did. Being an early Studio Series figure, he isn't the most dynamic looking. You can make him look intimidating, but without a waist or ankle joints, it's just not as nice as something from today. Something updating this figure would surely fix. He does come with some stuff, the machine gun and his claw. They peg into his arms, but they're way too tight, and the arms are shaped weird so they stick out super far and don't look nearly as nice and integrated as other Brawls that have released. I do like how the missile pods flare out at a slight angle on their stalks on his back, and they are ball jointed, so you can just take them off if you want him to look film accurate in that one scene he shows up in. Same with the arms, they're on mushroom pegs, so you can just take it off and now he's ready to get killed. Now the cannon on his ass. Yeah, he's just got a large poo hanging out. I like that the MPM takes this and fixes it by having it fold up, and given that the Voyager budget and, you know, the budgets at the time, I don't know if there was a feasible way to fit that in, but there had to have been a much nicer way to do this. Granted, from an outsider's perspective, like I said, the budgets back then felt lower than they are now, so like, again, if they did this now, it would probably be able to fix it by shoving the cannon somewhere else.
Brawl is old, and therefore his articulation is old. Honestly, you could get more poses out of this thing. No, it's not great. Also, one thing that my other Brawl also has this problem. No matter how hard I try, he's always wobbling. Like, his legs are lined up perfectly, and he's always wobbling. My old copy was like that too, and I don't quite understand why. The head is on a ball joint, though. You get a little bit of tilt, no real up and down, and you do get a full rotation. However, his like weird chin pug face thing hits the back of the tank wall, so you have to sort of like unpeg the head if you want it to do that. But also, why would you want it to do that? The shoulders, they are on weird sort of trigger happy style shoulders, so they do a full 360, but they go out inside the shoulder here. However, that doesn't really hinder anything because of how much space there is here, so like they're fine. You do have a bicep rotation as well as this joint, which is more for transformation, but you can use it, like get his arms in or out if you need to do that. He does have 90 degrees of bend at the elbow and nothing at the wrist because this is entirely one solid chunk of plastic. There is no waist joint, and like there's space for one, so that's quite unfortunate that there's no waist joint. However, he does have two stand ports, one down here and one up here, because why not? The hips can go forward that far, they can go back pretty much all the way. He can do a full split, though that does look a bit funky when you move his hip out. He does have a thigh rotation, though it starts to stiffen up right about here on mine, on both sides. So that's a bit strange. He does have a click knee, so the knee does bend a little under 90 degrees, but then it clicks into place. So you got that. And then nothing at the feet. I mean, they can go forward if you unpeg them, but that's unpegging them. They don't actually do anything. These little missile pods up here, they're on ball joints, and you can move these stalks up and down if you want. The claw can articulate up and down, though it only goes that far up before it pops out. It's just on a C-clip, though. It goes back in real easy. And then these don't like staying properly. They're supposed to like peg in, but they pop themselves out. There's like tiny little pegs right there. And on both sides, they just come out all the time, and it's a little annoying.
So yeah, the robot is all right. It's solid as a rock in the joints, but the plastic doesn't feel as nice as some of the newer stuff we're getting this year. Not to mention his articulation is very limited. And again, this thing in general could just use an update. The transformation is, well, it's also just all right. The arms are a bit cumbersome, and lining things up can be a bit of a pain.
So doing this is like the MPM, because the MPM takes a lot of its engineering from this, but this is not as nice and refined as said MPM, who's like, he's up there. There he is. So to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to take the guns off, which are really tight. Hey, there's one, and then, oh, there's the second. So once you have those taken off, what we're going to do is fold these sections up and then take these side bits here and bring them down just so that they unlatch these pieces. Then we're going to take the head, bring it forward. You want to fold these this way, so that way they could just get out of the way of this folding bit. So we're going to fold that bit down, then unfold it again to fold the head in, then close it up, and that's the head tucked away. Then we want to take these treads, well, before we do the treads, you want to take the shoulders and unclip them from the treads, bring them all the way back, and take the treads and push them out, and then fold them forward. That gets them out of the way of the turret, which we are now going to bring the legs down and rotate the turret 180 degrees, fold this panel out, and then bring these sections up on either side, and they will clip into the front. Then you take his head, and there are two tabs right here and here that are going to go into some slots inside the front section. So you line all that up, get that squeezed together, and that's basically the front of the tank done. Now we're going to do the back. So we are going to rotate the legs 90 degrees inward, fold out the feet, they will clip in. This one is a peg that flips out of it. This one doesn't, it has the port, and you just sort of smash that together, bring these sections out on either side, and then you want to fold, we're gonna get those out of the way, fold this around, and it will peg into the armatures that these things are on. There's like a little port right there. So you bring that around, and that will, if the shoulder's out of the way, peg into place, and that's basically the body of the tank done. Now we do the difficult part, the arms. So what we're going to do here is bring this section up, rotate it 180 degrees, close this, fold that out, close this, and then fold the cannon out, and just leave that up here for now. Then you want to open these panels up, not all the way, fold this section in like that so that the hollow parts are facing up, get the cannon out of the way, fold the arm in while also bringing this piece down, and it's going to sit underneath there like that. Not the most elegant thing in the world to do, and I don't enjoy doing it very much, but this one's giving me trouble. Now, surprisingly they haven't, but these shell pieces right here love to pop off all the time. So once you get this situated here, you're going to slide it over these tabs sticking out of the turret. So you slide that over, and then you slide that over, and you peg it together at the front, and then you peg it together at the back. Collapse this down, and there you have the tank mode. Everything's fine except for the arms. They're the things that get in the way and make this whole thing kind of frustrating to do. But there you have, and then these peg into the top, but they're gonna get stuck, so I'm not gonna do that right now.
That's a good looking tank mode, but again, it feels very slim to me. I don't know if it's just because I'm used to the leader or the MPM, but it's very flat and thin. The turret also sits pretty high up from the base of the tank at the back, but I don't know if that's actually accurate or not. It might be. The turret does not rotate though, which that's a bit of a shame. The top one does, but the bottom one is stationary and the cannon doesn't go up and down. That's unfortunate. It is a decent size next to some other Studio Series toys, but again, I feel like he would generally benefit from being like updated to a leader figure. Solid tank mode though, nothing wants to come undone on it. I think overall though, this figure is just all right. I just wish it did more in a lot of areas. And it's not exactly cheap anymore. Granted, I got this sealed for retail price from Comic Alley Toys, not sponsored, like a month ago. Do I recommend one? Not really, unless you want to complete the 2007 cast and studio series, but seeing as we have that listing for Leader 2007 Optimus, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to start redoing those for the 2007 anniversary in 2027. So who knows, we might get a new one. But that's my look at Studio Series, almost at Age of Extinction, Brawl. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.